Hello everyone. Welcome back, I'm so glad you're here. The entire stadium already felt different long before the music changed. The lights inside Ciudad de Mexico City were glowing like stars trapped beneath a dark ceiling, thousands of army bombs floating across the massive crowd like waves of purple breathing together in one heartbeat. Every scream echoed against the walls with a kind of desperation that only happens on the final night of something unforgettable. 3 days of memories had already turned this stop of the Arirang Tour into something emotional, but nobody inside that venue could have predicted the moment that was about to rewrite the entire concert forever. The members stood there smiling, exhausted, sweaty, glowing under the stage lights, looking out at tens of thousands of fans who had given them every ounce of love possible. And somehow, in the middle of all the noise, all the excitement, all the chaos, there was a strange feeling hanging in the air as if something unexpected was waiting quietly behind the next song. The crowd kept chanting their names over and over with voices already cracked from singing all night. Some fans held banners against their chests while others cried openly without even trying to hide it anymore. Every camera in the stadium pointed toward the stage because people already understood that Day 3 was becoming legendary. The energy was warmer, louder, more emotional than the previous nights. Even the members looked different. There was a softness in the way they looked at each other between songs. Little smiles, tiny glances, private laughter that fans noticed immediately. It felt less like a performance and more like 7 people trying to hold on to a moment they never wanted to end. Then suddenly the stage lights shifted. The giant screens behind them darkened for half a second, and the crowd reacted instantly because ARMY knows those tiny changes better than anyone else in the world. A murmur spread across the stadium. Phones lifted higher. Hearts started racing. The members walked closer together, almost shoulder to shoulder, and there was this mischievous energy in their expressions that immediately made people suspicious. Jungkook looked down trying to hide a smile while Taehyung kept glancing toward Namjoon as if he was waiting for permission to laugh. Jimin was bouncing slightly on his feet with that uncontrollable excitement he gets when something fun is about to happen. And then Yoongi stepped forward with that calm expression that somehow makes everything feel even more dangerous. Nobody expected what happened next. The opening rhythm hit the stadium like lightning. For 1 second there was silence because people genuinely could not process what they were hearing. Then the realization exploded all at once. The screams became so loud the Fancam microphones started cracking under the pressure. Fans jumped out of their seats. Some people covered their mouths in shock while others immediately burst into tears before the lyrics even started. Airplane Pt.2, a surprise song. On Day 3, in Mexico City, the reaction from the crowd was absolute madness. It was not just excitement. It was emotional chaos, the kind of moment fans dream about but never fully believe will happen. The beat rolled through the stadium with that smooth Latin-inspired rhythm that already carried so much history inside BTS's journey. And hearing it in Ciudad de Mexico City somehow made the song feel even more alive than before. The entire venue transformed instantly. People were dancing, screaming, crying, singing every lyric so loudly it almost drowned out the members themselves. Namjoon stood at the center with this proud smile on his face as if he already knew the emotional damage this surprise would cause. Hoseok looked completely at home the second the rhythm started moving through the speakers. His body naturally melted into the beat like he had been waiting all night for this exact moment. Every movement felt effortless. Every expression radiated pure joy. And when Jimin started singing with that soft but addictive tone, the crowd completely lost control again. There was something deeply emotional about seeing them perform Airplane Pt.2 here specifically. The song itself has always carried this feeling of movement, distance, dreams, and traveling through endless cities while carrying memories inside your heart. But in Mexico City, surrounded by tens of thousands of fans screaming those lyrics back at them, the meaning changed completely. Suddenly it was not just a song about travel anymore. It became a song about connection. About how 7 artists from Korea somehow built emotional homes in places thousands of miles away from where they started. Taehyung's voice drifted through the stadium with that rich warmth that instantly makes everything feel cinematic. The cameras caught fans crying during his parts because there was this overwhelming nostalgia attached to the performance. Some people remembered older tours. Some remembered difficult years when they watched BTS through screens believing they might never see them in person. Others remembered growing up alongside these songs, surviving heartbreak, loneliness, fear, and uncertainty with BTS quietly existing like a lifeline in the background of their lives. And then came Jungkook's part. The entire crowd exploded before he even finished the first line. His energy felt electric, completely free. He moved across the stage with this confidence that looked almost unreal under the lights, feeding directly off the crowd's reaction. Every smile from him created another wave of screams. Every note made fans sing louder. The chemistry between all 7 members started becoming impossible to ignore because they looked genuinely happy. Not polished, not rehearsed, just happy in the purest way possible. At one point the cameras zoomed out wide enough to show the entire stadium moving together under purple lights, and it honestly looked less like a concert and more like one giant emotional memory happening in real time. The chorus hit again and tens of thousands of voices screamed every word back toward the stage while the members laughed in disbelief at how loud the crowd had become. Yoongi's expression during the performance quietly became one of the most emotional details of the night. He kept looking out into the audience with this soft, almost reflective look in his eyes. Fans noticed it immediately in fancams later because it felt like he was trying to absorb the moment instead of just perform it. There was a calm gratitude written all over his face. The kind of expression someone makes when they realize how far they have come from the days when success felt impossible. The choreography became looser as the song continued. The members started playing around more, running toward different sides of the stage, hyping each other up, laughing whenever someone improvised something unexpected. Hoseok and Jimin danced together for a few seconds and the crowd nearly collapsed from excitement. Taehyung pointed his microphone toward the audience during the chorus and the fans sang so loudly it echoed through the entire stadium like thunder. Meanwhile Jin looked completely overwhelmed by the love pouring toward the stage. He kept smiling with that emotional kind of smile that looks like it is holding back tears underneath it. Every time the cameras caught him looking out at the crowd, fans screamed even louder because there was something so genuine about his expression. He looked proud. Proud of the members. Proud of the fans. Proud of the journey itself. Then came one of the most unforgettable moments of the entire performance. The music softened slightly during a transition, and for a brief moment the members stopped singing just to listen. The crowd took over completely. Tens of thousands of voices filled the stadium singing Airplane Pt.2 together without any help from the stage. The members stood there smiling in complete disbelief while the entire venue carried the song forward on its own. Some of them looked genuinely emotional hearing that many people sing every word with such passion. Namjoon lowered his microphone and just stared into the crowd for a second as if he could not fully process what he was hearing. That moment changed the atmosphere completely. What started as an exciting surprise suddenly became deeply emotional. You could feel it even through shaky fancam videos. The connection between BTS and the audience stopped feeling like artist and fans. It felt like family members sharing something deeply personal together. Years of memories, sacrifices, waiting, growing older, surviving hard times, and holding onto music that became emotionally attached to entire chapters of people's lives all collided inside one song. As the performance continued, the members seemed to realize how special the moment had become. Their smiles softened. Their eyes lingered on the audience longer between lines. Jungkook kept shaking his head in disbelief at the volume of the crowd. Jimin looked close to tears during one part while singing directly toward the fans nearest the barricade. Taehyung's voice carried this emotional edge that made every lyric feel heavier. The fancams from that night captured something raw that polished broadcast footage never fully can. The shaking cameras, the screaming voices, the imperfect angles, the emotional reactions happening in real time. Fans crying while trying to sing. Friends hugging each other in complete shock after realizing the surprise song was actually happening. The overwhelming sound of happiness exploding across an entire stadium. And somehow the song itself felt different than previous performances. It felt freer, more alive, less like choreography and more like memory making. Hoseok especially looked like he never wanted the performance to end. His energy became contagious, constantly pulling reactions from the crowd. Every time he danced harder, the screams became louder. Every time he laughed, the audience answered back immediately. There was this beautiful cycle happening between BTS and ARMY where both sides kept giving energy to each other until the stadium practically vibrated with emotion. Near the end of the song, confetti cannons exploded across the venue, sending silver pieces floating through the air like tiny stars falling slowly over the crowd. Fans reached upward while singing at the top of their lungs, tears running down faces illuminated by stage lights and phone screens. The visual became almost unreal. Purple lights, silver confetti, thousands of voices, 7 silhouettes moving across the stage together while Airplane Pt.2 echoed through Mexico City. It looked like a dream people would spend years trying to relive through fancams afterward. When the final chorus arrived, nobody wanted it to end. The members stretched out the final moments, encouraging the crowd to sing louder and louder until the entire stadium became deafening. Taehyung laughed mid-performance because the audience volume genuinely surprised him. Jungkook ran toward the extended stage pointing at fans while singing with this huge unstoppable grin across his face. Namjoon stood still for a second, just taking everything in as if he knew this exact memory would stay with him forever. Then the song ended. But the screaming did not. The crowd continued shouting long after the music stopped because emotionally nobody was ready to leave that moment yet. The members stood there breathing heavily, smiling at each other with expressions that said everything without words. You could tell they knew this performance had become something unforgettable. And in the middle of all the noise, there was this strange bittersweet feeling quietly settling over the stadium. Because moments like this never last long enough. That is what made it hurt so beautifully. Fans were smiling through tears because they understood they had just witnessed something rare. Not rare because of the song itself, but because of the feeling attached to it. The timing, the atmosphere, the emotion, the love in the stadium that night felt almost impossible to explain unless you were there hearing those voices shake the walls in real time. Even after the concert ended, people leaving the venue kept singing parts of Airplane Pt.2 outside in the streets. Fancams spread everywhere online within minutes because fans desperately wanted to preserve the feeling before reality settled back in. Social media flooded with emotional reactions from people saying they cried the second the intro started. Others admitted they completely lost their voices screaming. Some simply wrote that it felt like healing. And honestly, that might be the most accurate description of all. Because sometimes BTS performances stop being entertainment entirely. Sometimes they become emotional experiences people carry with them long after the lights disappear. Airplane Pt.2 in Ciudad de Mexico City on day 3 became one of those moments. A surprise song turned into a memory powerful enough to freeze time for thousands of people at once. A stadium full of strangers suddenly connected by one rhythm, one chorus, one emotional wave crashing through the night together. And somewhere inside all the screaming, dancing, tears, laughter, and purple lights, BTS once again reminded everyone why their concerts feel less like shows and more like living memories people never want to wake up from.